Well, the story actually began with their father, Louis Stiles Hoyts, who came here with his brother Peter to open up a dry goods store in downtown Newcastle, actually where the Penn Power building is located now. It was lost to fire. He married the only daughter of Alexander Crawford, who was a railroad magnate, who also had interest in the steel and lumber industry as well. And as I've later found out, started the first bank in Newcastle. So you can imagine the only daughter of the, this wealthy founder of the city marrying this ambitious young entrepreneur, what kind of dowry might have come with that. So they started off well. They had 3 children. Actually, Louis was only involved in the dry goods business for a few years. He then sold those interests and began operating the Scott Coal Company in what was then Clinton, PA, later became Hoytdale, and that's where Alex and his 2 sisters, Mayemma and Juana Hoyt, were born. Before he was the age of 5, they had moved to a house in downtown Newcastle on the corner of North and Jefferson. That one was lost to urban renewal, but I think we do have a picture of that I could share with you. And that's basically where he grew up. They said, according to the newspapers, when his grandfather, Alexander Crawford, died, it was the biggest funeral the county had ever seen. However, when his father, Louis Stiles, passed away of a heart attack, it was the biggest estate Lawrence County had ever seen.
My first impression of June was that she had moxie. She was a very independent woman with a lot of spirit. She often went to Pittsburgh independently, taking the train by herself. She and Crawford were actually, they really had a true partnership. And so I really liked hearing about their marriage through her eyes. I enjoyed getting to know her that way. I was really kind of impressed. I mean, it's evident that June had a high intellect. And that when I talked about her and Crawford being partners, it was also, even in the construction of the house, they often visited the site together. She has several entries where she's visiting the site alone and spending the day here. And the other thing that I found really interesting, because Crawford had a background in banking. He was the president of the banks here. Is that she really kept a very detailed accounting of what was being spent, the cost of it. It was clear that they would put things out for multiple bids because she would comment a lot if a bid was really expensive. I think the staircase, the installation of the staircase was something like, the bid came in at $11,800, which would have been like $318,000 by today's standards, just for the staircase. Gender roles were very different back then, and husbands and wives functioned very differently back then. But an example of how they really functioned equally, to me, was in the upstairs master bedroom. June designed the hearth. And so that to me spoke to, they're building this really expensive, large home on at the time what was one of the biggest plots of land, and that she had the freedom to design a very large architectural
He actually gave
piece.
her quite a few liberties. That's one of the things that I think we want to convey to the audience, is that they were real people and that they cared about other people. She was able to name the construction crews, and a lot of them she referred to by their nicknames, not by like their full given names, but Happy and the Welshman and that sort of thing. And it was when one of those, the foreman's father had died, And that in order to allow him to be able to go to the funeral, Crawford took on the job of watering the garage floor so that it wouldn't cure too fast. So, and then they bought them tickets to go see the circus. They brought the workers out sandwiches and cake and cigars, and so they built a relationship with the people that were building their home for you. Yeah, I think the fact that regardless of their wealth, they did shop around. I think we both noticed that. They had at least 5 interior designers that bid on completing the interiors of the house. And kind of what I noticed from looking at those records and listening to what she wrote was that they made the decisions together.
Yeah.
I mean, they were very much a couple. You could feel that in the entries, and they built this house from the perspective of they had planned on filling it with children. They just didn't build this 12,500 square foot for the heck of it and the prestige of it, but because they wanted to fill it with the family and a life that they were making together.